When we build a startup, people recommend to do things that don't scale. If you do, one day it's going to crash. And I just hope you can pull through it when it does. If you want to be prepared for that, you should have a bit of money to catch up the technical debt by improving the capacity of the product and the scalability. So, without getting too technical, I will share with you a few principles you need to understand when we talk about scalability. That's also a very good topic to identify a good CTO or an IT architect among the rest. Let's assume that you have a web platform that maybe handle something like 10k users. Maybe there is a Black Friday that is coming, or you did a press release and you are going to be spotted on the TV soon. First off, remember, stress, test. It's time for it. You need to test the capacity of your current solution. So let's start by replicating the production environment and ask to a specialized company to run that stress test. In the meantime, ask your CTO and your lead developer to monitor the solutions. I mean, the servers, the database, etc. That will lead you to identify infrastructure bottlenecks, which actually are often the same. And increasing the server capacity is not always enough. Hopefully, there are some solutions for it. Here is the first classical bottleneck, the upload bandwidth. This one is very easy to solve, just by using a CDN, a common distributed network. As example, Cloudflare is a very good provider, as well as all the cloud providers like Google, Amazon, etc. You can reduce by 5 the amount of data sent from your server. And of course, it might also require to increase the capacity of your server bandwidth. Next, when we talk about application performance, we also talk about application improvement, and that path through the cache optimization. In other words, how your application can reuse content generated few seconds or minutes ago, without creating it again and again. Technologies like Memcache or Varnish will save you tons of money in terms of infrastructure if you do cache. The next bottleneck to handle is the database. A database is like an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, you cannot update several times in parallel the same line. And regardless of the computer power, this limit can be easily reached if you use IoT or a large amount of data. That's why, to manage that growth, you need to migrate from a single database structure to a distributed database structure by splitting data into specific databases. And here are the general types of database. The old style is SQL, which is a centralized database. We also call that a relation database. It's better for reporting and stats, but not for growth. Next, the NoSQL database, the distributed way. It's really scalable, but more complex to manage. And finally, the search dedicated database, where we cannot save everything, but we just focus on the research data. So you might ask, why not going with a NoSQL database or an optimized database right from the bat? Just because it makes things more complex and expensive to develop. And the last part I would like to touch on are server solutions. A simple server is not adapted for growth. I will explain you quickly the solutions available for growth. First off, the definitions. Servers are computers hosted in a data center. And a virtual server is a virtual environment that runs on physical servers, like a software. I mean, if you are a client that uses a virtual server, you are going to share the same servers with other clients, which also reduce the cost. Then, the cloud provider's solution. The cloud providers will provide virtual servers as well as application-based services. And for growth, I prefer to focus on cloud services. The virtual environment for an application that do not require special care for the server capacity. I mean, you can delegate the management to the cloud provider and you just pay for the actual used resources. If you have 10 clients one day and then 10,000 clients the next day, the server will just grow rapidly and automatically by itself. And we have exactly the same principle for the database management. And we call that database as services. So if your application is well structured, your database can grow and be scalable automatically as well. So what's in it for you in those technical details? That will just help you to choose the right technical and infrastructure provider, as well as choosing the right technology for the growth stage. I mean, if someone proposes you a cloud solutions, usually that's the good sign. Next, there are other tools like microservices, process queue, Dockers, etc. that makes things even simpler when it comes to manage a cloud provider. They are not commonly used and known yet, but that's definitely the way to build scalable software right from the bat. Well, I do not expect you to understand every cloud services with this short introduction. But what I would invite you to keep in mind is that cloud providers' solutions are best scalable solution, especially for startup. And I invite your technical team to use them as much as they can. Okay, I hope you are still here, still alive, and we are closing this very technical part. And now I will see you in the conclusion to wrap up this entire course.